Hi everyone. It's Wednesday night. That means it's time for late night snack. Welcome to Voice of Our Own. I'm Allie. Tonight I wanted to follow up from last week's discussion about negative self-talk. And just so you know, for those of you who are new to Late Night Snack, welcome. And this is just when I talk for a bit about life and parenting and self-care. And the month of February is devoted to negative self-talk because I find so many of us are living with negative self-talk. And last week I told a story about my experience with negative self-talk and imposter syndrome. And tonight I wanted to just follow up from there and to go a little bit more deeply into why negative self-talk is just so dangerous to us and so dangerous to our psyche. So the thing to know about negative self-talk is that it often takes the shape of shame. And for those of you who know me, you know I'm a huge fan of Brene Brown. If you are interested in Brene Brown and her work after listening to this, check her out on her TED Talks and on her website. She's amazing. She is a shame and vulnerability researcher. And one of the things that she talks about is that the difference between shame and guilt. And this is a really important distinction for anyone who is struggling around that negative self-talk. Shame sounds like, I'm so stupid. I'm a bad person. I'm not good enough. That's what shame sounds like. Guilt, on the other hand, sounds like, I did something really stupid. I did something that I really didn't like that I'm not proud of. I really need to rethink about that. That felt really yucky to me. The difference is shame says, I am bad. Guilt says, I did something bad. And it seems at first like it's splitting hairs, like it's not that important, it's not that big of a deal. But it's actually hugely different. Shame is associated, it's correlated with higher levels of addiction, of violence, of eating disorders. There's all of these negative things associated with shame. Guilt, on the other hand, has the inverse correlation. If you have a lot of guilt, then you have lower levels of addiction, eating disorder. So basically, you want more guilt than shame. We all need to have shame. That's important. And guilt is an uncomfortable feeling as well. But here's the difference. With guilt, it's separate from you. It's not a part of who you are. You did something bad. So you can almost look at it like, oh, I did this thing that's bad and that feels really uncomfortable and really gross and I'm really not proud of myself. I need to fix this. That's what guilt does. Because it's separate from you, it helps motivate you to say, I don't ever want to do this again. This is yucky and I need to change things. And so you take positive change accordingly. If you are telling yourself, I am bad, I am stupid, what shame does is you go underground. You don't talk about it. It's secrecy, silence, and judgment. That's what happens with shame. We go underground and we just want to hide. That's what shame does. It makes us not want to be seen. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to deal with it. And then because we're not dealing with it, we repeat it and we repeat it and we repeat it. If that makes sense. So last week I was talking about imposter syndrome. The message that I told myself for years was, I am so stupid. I am so stupid. Yes, I was in honors classes for my entire life. Yes, I got straight A's all the time. Yes, I excelled in almost everything I did. But I was so mired in shame and that I am so stupid that what ended up happening is that imposter syndrome just set in, right? That's why I felt like such a fraud all the time, was because I was just so stuck in the shame. And when I had my breakdown, I want to tell you about some strategies that you can use to pick yourself back up. I am a walking public service announcement for all of you. and I'll go into that. But this is why that negative self-talk, we have to be really aware of it. Because if our negative self-talk keeps us in shame, then we can't really get out of it. But if we can say, "Ooh, I did that and I didn't feel good about that. Let me go fix that," then it's different in a good way. So let me tell you a story. So after I had my breakdown, I was trying to pick myself up again and go back to work and be fully present, but also do better self-care. And I remember my therapist saying, "Do you ever take a break?" And I said, "No, I don't take lunch breaks. I don't take any breaks. I go to the bathroom. That's all I do." And she was like, "You have to take a break." She's like, "Even 5 minutes, you have to take a break." And nobody around me was taking breaks. Here's the other thing to know. Shame is organized by gender. So women tend to experience shame as, I have to do everything, I have to be perfect at everything, and no one can see me sweat. That's how shame shows up for women. For men, it shows up as one thing, which is you can't be weak. But for women, I was so mired in my shame web. It was like I had to crush it at work, and I had to be amazing at home, and I had to have the clean house, and I had to do everything perfectly. Meanwhile, I'm telling myself, "Oh, you're just not doing it well enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're so stupid." It's maddening, right? That's what led to my breakdown. On the way back up, I was begrudgingly taking breaks, and I would go on these walks, and I'd be on my walk, and my internal dialogue was just like, "Everything is gonna fall apart. What are you doing? No one else is taking breaks. You're the only one. You're so stupid. You don't know what you're doing." And so I would spend 5 minutes doing that. I would be walking and talking to myself like that. I don't recommend it. And then I would come back into the office, and I would expect the sky to have fallen, and it never did. It was always fine. It was like I had just stepped out for a second. Nothing registered on any of my coworkers' minds that I was gone. So I did this a couple of times. I went for my shame walk for 5 minutes. And after 3 or 4 times, what happened was I became aware of all of the mental chatter, because I was like, I knew it was there, but I didn't really pay attention to it. And I remember just stopping and saying, "No, this has got to be a shame-free walk. This has to be a shame-free break. I can't just spend 5 minutes walking outside, beating myself up. That is doing no one any good. If I'm going to take a break, I have to learn to turn the volume down on my shame tapes and turn the volume up on a different way of talking to myself, something with a little more compassion." So that's what I began doing. And I would encourage you, if this is something you struggle with, is to notice it when it's happening, and to do all you can to make sure that shame is not the loudest voice in your head, because it truly does you no good. And to turn up the volume, I consider that compassionate voice like my best friend. My best friend would not be saying, "Why are you going out on a break?" 5 minutes? Yeah, it sounds short, but anything can happen in 5 minutes, My best friend wouldn't say that to me. My best friend would be like, "You go, girl. Go, you take your 5 minutes. Don't think about work. I want you to just go out and relax," right? We have to tap into our own internal best friends, and we have to turn down the volume on those shame tapes. So I hope that is helpful to you. We are going to be talking about shame and getting over negative self-talk and strategies all month long. So I hope that was beneficial to you. Join me next week. And if you have any questions or comments, leave it down below. And otherwise, I wish you a full night's sleep uninterrupted sleep. That's my wish for you tonight and always. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you later. Take care. Bye.